Ras Ben, bless up my good brethren.
Greetings.
How's everything going?
How you doing, sister?
Yes, everything
Yes,
is good.
I. What you say? It's hard to hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Maybe some volume. How's that? I know what's happening. My mic is not plugged. That's what's happening. How's that? That's better.
Much
Okay.
better.
How's
Much better.
everything going?
Say what?
I said, how's everything going so far? How was your day?
I'm thankful, slow but steady. You know,
Truly.
slow but steady. What can I say? Taking life as it's coming. This year has been one for the record books, you know, just in terms of highs and lows and just all kinds of deep experiences that we say I feel like I've been on E5. I've been on E5's board. So much of my life this year seems like it's been a message or a symbol or just something deeper than what it is, you know?
Most definitely.
So end of this year, I'm just attempting to make sense of it. What, you know, what was the meaning of all of this, you know?
Exactly.
I was so glad we got to link this year, though.
Yes, you know, every time you come to South Florida, everybody got to come see you, you know? So when you it's like when you and Unc come in the house, everything stops. Schedules change. Everything changed to make it known that we're going to see Ras Ben or we're going to see Unc. You know, I told Unc, I said, listen, y'all got to come more often now. You know, because when y'all leave, y'all leave a ray of blessings.
I'm gonna just say this real quick though. I don't know if it's just what I'm hearing, but your mic sounds real weird, very like tinny, and it's hard to hear the fullness of your words. It's like,
okay, let me see.
Yeah, I don't know if that's me or just me or.
No, it's probably my side. Most likely, it's the StreamYard side. How is it now?
All right. Well, I just wanted to inform you of that. But go ahead, seal your thought.
Yes, I was saying, you know, when you and Netta Unc come to South Florida, everybody's schedule changes. It's like time stops because we have to come and be around y'all radiance. Because when y'all leave, you leave, you know, an essence of blessings. I don't know if y'all aware of that or not, you know?
Yes, well, give thanks. Give thanks.
How
You're
was
right.
the audio?
Jara got to be in that circuit. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Just natural unfoldment, but
right.
I think that's your charge, and I would definitely love to be a part of that.
Most definitely.
Yes.
How was the audio? Is better?
So, hey, let me ask you this: how long are you planning for the show to be?
You let me know. You know, I don't know if you know have anything to do. I know tomorrow you say you have a presentation to do, so you probably want to get some rest. You know.
Okay.
And you know, it's always next month.
Well, I would say at least an hour. Let's like shoot for like an hour to 90 minutes, maybe.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And my audio is clear?
Yes, I hear you perfect. How about my side? Is it better?
Awesome. And like I said, I can share. Let me see.
Yeah, you can share the screen.
I should have studied. Oh yeah, present. So I think I see how to share my screen. Let me see.
So yeah, just to say to my listeners out there, greetings, family, and thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a while since you saw me actually doing a live. I've been doing a lot of pre-recordings just to keep the momentum going and just to keep the, viewership occupied with some type of edifying documentaries or lectures. So now we have the Honorable Ras Ben in the house. He's a healer, earth keeper, an author, a father. I'm not sure of a grandfather yet, but yes,
Yeah, I'm a
he's a very
grandfather. I got
yes, and a
one.
grandfather. Congratulations.
Give thanks.
Yeah, and Ras Ben been putting the work in for over 35 years,
Yeah.
right? You and your wife, exactly. Been doing a lot of community works in different states and from Washington to Philly to Miami, Arizona, California, New York. Ras Ben is definitely liked everywhere he goes. He leaves a good impression.
Give
And
thanks.
you
I will
always bring
say,
that scholarly.
the reality is I consider the South Florida community, I hope I'm not being presumptuous, but I consider y'all family, you know?
Oh, you
Y'all more
already know. You already
y'all
know
more
you my
than
family. We
friend
don't
and
even have to discuss
associate.
that.
I've known y'all over the decades, and I know
Okay.
I know y'all parents, I know y'all children. You know what I'm saying?
You know
And
my children when they were like 9 and 10, and now they're grown with their
yeah.
own
So
children.
we've grown together. We've grown and evolved and matured together. And
Yes.
every time I've come to South Florida, it's been a healing.
Mm-hmm.
And even that the times in my life that I found myself in South Florida,
Mm-hmm.
significant, you know? So
Exactly.
I have to give thanks for that.
And when you first came to South Florida, what you was bringing was very much needed because you started opening up one's consciousness. You know what I mean? You went places that ones normally wouldn't go. You talked about things that people was afraid to talk about because they worried about not being in the box. You know what I mean?
Huh.
So
Yeah.
you really did serve a great purpose from
Well, that's what you call
'07
obedience.
to now.
When them
Hmm.
ancestors be putting something on my head to research, regardless
Yes,
of how ones might receive it. Just being obedient.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. That's what that comes out of.
So you have a good presentation breaking down the science behind Enoch.
Yeah. You said you wanted to reason on the heavens and the star nations, right?
Yes, the
And
galactic federations.
what
Hmm.
I've observed over the decades, 'cause I have been studying what I guess some would call the ET extraterrestrial phenomena, right?
Uh-huh.
And what I've observed is what you label it is very important because it's going to paint a picture in people's minds about what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Because a lot of that phenomena, what comes to people's minds, has been formed by Follywood and Hollywood, that
Truly.
if I want to really get the imagination and the vision in people's mind, where the pictures and the images that are coming into their heavens
Hmm.
is what I really want them to see, I got to be careful with how I name it.
True.
And so, more these last couple of years, when one say, hey, that's what I want to reason on, Ras Ben, let's talk about that. I say, let's couch it in the words of Enoch. because Enoch, you know, and of course the Book of Enoch, which is one of the original books of the original Bible, but it didn't make the cut in King James Version, you know? And King James, you know, was like, what's going to end up on the cutting board? What's going to make the cut, right? Not didn't make the cut. And so a lot of us in the West, if our only source of scripture is King James Version, we're not going to have a full understanding of Enoch. But
Thank you.
Enoch is in, it made the cut. And what I get.
Gave him a few minutes to come back on.
We be making sure our connections ain't strong. When we talking deep science, I'm observing that, you know?
And that always happens. Oh, I have stories for that one.
Yeah. So, but in the Tawahedo Church, the Book of Enoch is considered the father of all scripture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Enoch is the first, well, Adam is the first man, right? But Enoch is the first prophet, 7 generations down from Adam. And even though his book, just like Isaiah got a book, Ezekiel got a book, all the different prophets in King James Version got a book. But Enoch, like we said, Enoch's book didn't make the cut. But Enoch is the first prophet. And truth be told, all other prophetic books are echoes of Enoch on some way, on some level, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Book of Enoch is really the key to understanding biblical prophecy. But beyond that,
right,
you know, Enoch is really the first book of geography, the first book of geometry, the first book of botany, first book of so many ologies or disciplines of study in the West, right? If you really want to trace the origins to the first book where these sciences documented for lineages afterwards to be able to read and interpret and build their culture on. Enoch is the foundation of so many ologies, of so many sciences. And one of the most important ologies that the Book of Enoch is the foundation of is the book of angelology. Study of celestial beings, study of ones that live in the heavens, and what's their relationship to us, and what's their role in the history of the earth, and all of that. The beginning of that study is Enoch. So what I've observed is if you talk about galactic studies, or what I'm calling the Galactic Federation, right? Or we talk about ET UFO, all these newer terms about this science, right?
Right.
the image that comes in people's minds, it ain't really what we talk. It's not gonna give a clear vision of what we talking about. And so it's best to introduce people to Enoch and his teachings and what he says about the seven heavens. Because he says there's seven heavens, right? That have 24 gates, 12 lower gates, 12 upper gates. And that within those seven heavens, as it relates to us, there's nine orders of angelic beings. And that, these would really, who what some would call the Galactic Federation. And so I like to go to the root of the study, the Book of Enoch, and that's really the foundation of what I was thinking about reasoning tonight.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes, Hey, I don't see on my side how to share the screen. Is it something you have to do? Share my screen?
Okay, so you go to present.
All right, present. Oh, I see. Share screen. Duh. What am I talking?
Yeah, you would have had to go through channels to see it.
All right. Share screen. Did that do it?
Yep, I see it. Now
You
let
see
me
it? We'll give thanks.
let me add it.
So look, what let's do this. Let's go through a presentation I have. Just kind of introduce, because I don't want to assume everyone really knows about Enoch, the first prophet, right?
Right.
From an Ethiopian perspective. So I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. I'm just going to highlight who Enoch is and then kind of jump to his description of the seven heavens, the 24 gates, the 9 orders of angels, and how that kind of relates to what ones would call UFO ET reality, right? And what I would say is at any point, if you feel like, yo, I have a question, or Ross needs to build on that a little more, jump on, all right?
Okay, no problem.
All right, and we agree with that? That sounds good?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, lovely. So the history, mystery, and prophecy of Enoch, the first prophet. So like we said, Enoch is really the 7th patriarch after Adam. He's the son of Jared. He's the father of Methuselah. And he's the great-grandfather of Noah. All right? So like we say, Adam is the first man. But Enoch is the first prophet. And even though he's the first prophet, just like if you study Rastafari, right? Who was the first Rasta? Leonard Howell, right? Why is Leonard Howell? Why don't nobody be talking about Leonard Howell? Why don't no one be really giving this man? This man was the first Rasta. All the thousands and millions of Rasta that out here doing their thing. Bob Marley and all of it. We don't rarely hear about Leonard Howell. What's up with that? It's coming. It's an echo of how the first prophet, first biblical prophet, Enoch came, where even though he was the first prophet, just how things rolled out, yeah, he wasn't remembered or recognized historically, right? And even
Right.
within, like I say, King James Version, we already had mentioned this. The book of Enoch is not, it didn't make the cut of the King James Version, right? And the prophecies of Enoch are only directly echoed in one book in the New Testament. That's the book of Jude. And that's the prophecy you see there. And this might give a lot of insight into why the book of Enoch is not bigged up, because his prophecies, like, they speak about what you're asking about. What's the role of this galactic federation? And basically, Enoch says, that there's thousands and myriads of his saints and holy ones in the heavens waiting to come down here to execute judgment upon all who that are ungodly and, living in ungodly deeds and moving with ungodly commitments, right? So the ones, to the extent that they got power over what scriptures are remembered versus what scriptures are canceled, right? That's a reason why Enoch's prophecies aren't remembered, because really the biggest prophecy of Enoch as it relates to the Galactic Federation is, or the ones you said, hey, let's reason on that, Ras Ben, right?
Yes.
Enoch said, yo, they coming to execute judgment. So they don't really want that known, right? Okay. So Enoch, details of him being a patriarch are included in Genesis 5. Genesis chapter 5. He lived 162 years in age, right? They say Jared lived 800 years, like these patriarchs. The the liberty, the way of life they manifested, it gave them, what you say, dominion of years. It's hard for us to imagine this experience. Also, Enoch is in Genesis chapter 5. It is said that Enoch was one who transfigured. There's supposedly only two men, biblically, who, when them passed, when them moved forward, they didn't just die like us and only our spirit live on, but they were transfigured. They were, in a sense, carried up, body and soul, to the higher heavens, right? So Enoch and Isaiah are the two that were said to have transfigured. In Genesis chapter 5, it says Enoch walked faithfully with God, that he was no more because God took him away. Like, he was taken into heaven, body and soul, right? So how could that happen unless ones that would be called angels or ones that would be called ETUFO by some, right? Takes you directly up into the heavens, right? So, they said Enoch didn't see death. He transfigured. Okay, chapter 11, Hebrews chapter 11. And Enoch was taken to the seventh heaven. And when he experienced his transfiguration, he evolved into an angelic being that we know as Metatron. Okay? And I'll just say this. I'm not going to get all deep into it because of time, right? But in my study, in my reflection on that, what did that mean? What does transfiguration mean? It means that like we're carbon-based humans here on Earth, right? Melanin-based, carbon-based humans. Well, angelic beings, I think, are silica-based. And I'm not going to go all deep into why, right? That's for a next reasoning.
Right.
But Metatron, when Enoch was transfigured in the Archangel Metatron, his carbon was integrated with silica, which made him an angelic being. Okay? And
so carbon and silica pretty much changes up the molecular cellular structure of flesh being into a light being, so to
that's
speak.
an excellent question. And yes, you understand what I'm saying, where, okay, carbon and silica molecularly, I will say this, right? Just so that people know I'm not really tripping on this. When you look at the periodic table, carbon and silica are in the same column. And when you look at the carbon molecule, let me see if I have this in a slide. I'm going to come back to all of this. But yeah, this is it right here. When you look at a carbon molecule and a silica molecule, they look exactly the same. They appear molecularly, structurally, they look exactly the same. But the big difference is carbon is non-magnetic and non-metallic. And silica is magnetic and metallic. So imagine that you can replace the carbon molecule in us in such a way like the molecule matches. And so as far as our biology is concerned, the silica molecule would be recognized the same way carbon is. However, it's metallic and magnetic. So your flesh would turn metallic and magnetic. That's like the bodies that angels are created of, So the flesh has been transfigured. I hope you understand that.
Yes, I get it.
Clear. All right. So let me see. Let me go forward to where I was. So yeah, that's more or less what I was saying, right? And so now, when Enoch was transfigured, he was taken to the seventh heaven, right? And made into the Archangel Metatron. He was given dominion over all 9 angelic orders that I was mentioning earlier. So Metatron is actually who they call in scripture and prophecy the lesser Jehovah. It's human that sits in the seventh heaven and who's in control of all 9 angelic orders that have, what do you say, dominion over the space-time reality of humans, right? So, within those 9 orders, they say the highest 3 orders are the seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim, or the Ophan, right? And these 3 orders, like the seraphim and the cherubim, seraphim is an order of living fire, and the cherubim is an order of living water. And they dwell in the 7th heaven. They dwell in the highest region of, I guess, what you would call our galaxy, which I guess some would call our galactic core, the center of our galaxy, which we see as one point of light that we call a star of Sagittarius A, the brightest star in Sagittarius, 26 degrees Sagittarius, right? And Enoch gives a detailed account of how they appear and what they're doing in the 7th heaven. We can visit that, because I do have like the book of Enoch queued up beyond this presentation, right? So we could go to the actual scripture and read these things. I'm just talking about and describing here, right?
Right.
But they say for real, when Enoch was being transfigured and brought to the 7th heaven, these 3 orders, they smelled him like 365,000 light years, or myriads of parsecs, how it's described within the book of Enoch. They smelled him coming. They smelled that flesh, like how you saying, flesh, that's this carbon flesh, has a complex place in history, mystery, prophecy. You know what I'm saying? And the angels, they smelled them coming, and they protested. They say, how can a son of man being born of woman be brought into the 7th heaven? And the Ancient of Days was saying, look, the way things have gone down on earth, there's been a corruption. The Shekinah, the divine feminine presence, the bride of Jah, had to be removed from the world, right? And the thing with Enoch was that this man had an innocence. When you study the book of Enoch, this man was so innocent. How did he show his innocence? Beyond being a study of angelology, like what we're talking about, the book of Enoch is also the study of demonology, because the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the ones that have really corrupted this earth and is responsible for a lot of the chaos humanity finds itself in now, right? They was wilding, lost direct access to the 7th heaven, lost direct access to the Ancient of Days, what Rasta would call the Rainbow Circle Throne, the ability to go and have a direct and personal relationship with the dominion of this realm, right? Because of their behavior was so foul. So what did they do? They approached Enoch and said, yo, would you take our supplication? Would you take our prayer to the 7th heaven as a supplication? Because you have that access that we lost. And guess what? Enoch was so innocent in how he moved, right? He did it. He took the prayers of the fallen angels to the 7th heaven, but their petition was denied, and they received a but a harsh judgment, right? And these are really the harsh judgment of these fallen angels, and how the Most High and the angels from the seventh heaven were going to untangle these fallen angels' manipulation with humanity and redeem humanity. These are the first prophecies. This is the original prophecy. This is the original prophetic timeline, right? So it's all tied in with Enoch's innocence. And it was because of this innocence that the Most High, that we would call the Ancient of Days, that sits at the rainbow circle throne in the seventh heaven, ordained it that Enoch be brought there. And like I said, the highest orders of angelic beings, the cherubim, seraphim, and Ophanim, at first they protested, but he who sits on the throne of the Ancient of Days, he had to tell them, like, yo, this is what it is. This man needs to be brought into this sacred region, So they say when Enoch got up there, 300 million gates of heaven were open to him. He received 5,360 blessings, 72 wings, 36 on each side were, transfigured into his body. He evolved 365 eyes and a throne at the door of the seventh hall of the seventh heaven, erected form, right? He was made ruler of the seventh heaven, in charge of all the angelic beings. The Most High clothed Enoch in a garment of glory and a crown of vestments, and named and gave him the title of the many Jehovah and the name Metatron. Meta means beyond, and Tron means powers. So he received the title Metatron, beyond all powers. And he became an angel of living fire. He was set on fire and became the king of the seraphim. He was given 70 names so that he could be known in each tongue of humanity. But the title that the Ancient of Days that sat on the rainbow circle throne, the title he liked to give Enoch the most was my youth. You know how enough yard man want to call one and one my youth, right? Here's the root of that. And he was known as my youth because he is the Son of Man. And when you study prophecy, who was Iasus Christos, or the one who called Jesus Christ? Who is he supposed to be? The Son of Man returned, right? So this is who this man Enoch is in prophecy, right? And he's like we say, Metatron. When he went through this transfiguration and became this being in the seventh heaven, right? He was given the title Metatron. And anyone that studies sacred geometry, right? What's the foundation of sacred geometry? What them called Metatron's cube, right?
So what does meta mean?
Huh?
What does meta mean for those who is just hearing these two words, Metatron?
The word. Yeah, meta means beyond, and tron means power. Let me see if I can find that slide.
So that would be the subatomic particles?
Well, He's just beyond all powers. He's the consciousness or the awareness in the seventh heaven, in the galactic core of our galaxy that has awareness, responsibility, and accountability for what's going on here on Earth. You know?
So how
But
would you describe Metatron in a literal form?
that's a good question. And I guess I would say he does express his powers quantumly or atomically, right? The smallest thing that has the biggest impact. So I overs what you're asking, and I hope that explains it, right? But here
Yeah.
you see that if you want to just give it
Say that last part again because it's breaking up on us.
right on.
Yeah, I was saying say that last part again because it was breaking up on us. When you said that's the best way you can explain it. You see, every time I have people like you or Ras Ben sis on the stream, powers that be like to come in and cut, make it shady, you can't hear it, or freezing the screen like now. You know what I mean? It never fails. So I'm hearing my side, but his camera is froze. His side is froze. Okay, so I'm seeing some people in the chat. Same for me. Might be the music playing in the background. No, it's not the music playing in the background. That don't have anything to do with his side breaking up. Hmm. Um, he might be. Oh no, that's somebody saying that. Could be. Could be. Because I believe that could be the name of his YouTube channel. I don't know. But I don't think so. Let me look again. Yes, David. You know too, because sometimes you be on the stream yard with us and you be witnessing firsthand what's happening. So when he come back, actually let me just send him a quick text. Maybe he can refresh. Try to refresh his computer. Yeah, it dropped him out. I was thinking maybe his laptop needed to be plugged in. I mean, needed to be charged because you know sometimes it'll do that. Yeah, sometimes like these Friday evenings, I think that everybody be on at the same time, streaming from different parts of the world, and I feel like it slows down the broadcasting. That's just my personal observation dealing with this. I think in this case, he probably needed to put it on charge. But it was getting juicy. Right when it's getting juicy, then it start messing up. Oh no. Only Ras Ben could continue this topic. I just, as he's speaking, I can just come up with questions, but I definitely wouldn't be able to fill in. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So, in a summary, I would say that we can't look at Enoch from a biblical point of view too much, because now this has stepped into the realms of metaphysics, galactic. So if you just stay fixed on what he did on earth, then you're talking from a biblical point of view. But now, when you speak about how he walked straight into heaven and then was transformed into Metatron, now we having a higher conversation. And a lot of people don't want to have those conversations because they don't want to step outside the Bible box. And he's stepping outside the Bible box. He's taking their heavens to a different heavens now. Like, okay, we know Enoch from a biblical planet Earth point of view, but what about after he left Earth? What about the transition that he went through and the heavens calling him? Because in a situation like, from what he was explaining, most of the time, a man that's born from a woman or a woman that's born from a woman, they wouldn't be accepted into a seventh heaven realm like that. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be placed in such a high, hierarchy, because the way they were born, the way they were made. But in his case, it seems like there was exceptions made because of the way he moved and lived on earth. Yes, like the seventh realm from this earth realm. So like how we're in 3D, third dimensional, I would say Enoch is in that seventh dimensional, in the core of the galaxy, where the most high, the creator, starts, where it formed at, the core of where it came from, of all life, because then now we're going to start looking at the creator as not male, not female. We're going to be looking at the creator as male and female together. Yes. And people don't like to go there either, because they want God, the creator, to be masculine, patriot, They don't want to look at it in its feminine aspect. So you have your omni-galactic source, which is male, female, and then you have your omni-galactic mother and your omni-galactic father, and then it starts breaking down. But the source of it all is male-female balance, polarity. It's not looked at as a man wanting to be a woman or a woman wanting to be a man. You know what I mean? It's not like that. Mm-hmm. Right. You sure you don't want to join the stream? Are you enjoying the listening? Okay. Yeah, a lot of people enjoy to listen. Oh, it, right, right, right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, Raspen, everything okay?
I'm blocked. I dropped off.
Yeah.
All right, good thanks. I thought so. All right, I'm gonna do my best to come forward. All right.
I don't know if you probably need to plug your laptop in. Maybe it needs to be charged, because it did one of those blink outs.
It's just frozen.
It's still frozen? Wow. I have to laugh.
And I even plugged it into a landline.
Right, right. Yeah, because I did something like that. I brought the modem as close to the computer as possible.
Right. So give me about at least 5 minutes. I should be far.
Okay, no problem.
Sometimes she's just gonna reboot it.
Yes.
Alright, give it a reboot to see where that leads. Alright.
Okay, no problem.
Alright. Wow, where did I drop off?
Oh, I was asking you about the Metatron, the meaning of it, and I didn't get a chance to ask the next question after that because we got dropped off. Like how you would describe Metatron in the literal form. I think that was the last question.
All right, I'm it's rebooting now. Give me a couple of minutes.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Okay. Respect. Yeah, so give us a few more minutes, my listeners. I appreciate your patience. He's going to reboot his computer now. Of course, when we have powerful guests like him on the live stream, we will get these cut-offs and these screen freezing and everything like that. So just bear with us here. I think I need to put my telephone on charge too. Okay, no problem. That's my thing with that. You don't have to because we were like really getting into it. Like you was feeling where I was going, and I'm feeling where he's coming from, and then now we're relating it, you know. Let's see. Well, I think your phone speaker should work, but I do have some headphones if you need some headphones. Let me see if it has a speaker. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think your phone speaker will be fine. Yeah, phone speaker should be good. Yeah, so Ras Ben is a very deep brother, and you definitely would have to be coming with an open subconscious mind to grasp what he's saying. And his, whatever he's saying, people are always free. This is for the listeners out there. You're always free and open to do your own research. If you don't believe, if you don't fully understand, you can always do your own due diligence to get a clearance. Oh, I think did I send you the Streamline link? So just to let the listeners know, I have Ariel, the alchemist, here at my gates. You will meet her soon. And that's who I'm speaking to in the background, just in case one thing I'm sitting here talking to myself. I think I sent the Streamline link to your email. Oh no, I didn't. It's in your message too. It's on Tuesday's date. But so far, the reasoning was beautiful. I like how he had the PowerPoint up, and I like how he directed us to understand how Enoch is even Enoch. You know what I mean? and how he's taking, I can't keep saying this, and how he is taking it outside of the Bible and giving it to us in a galactic sense. Because they only stop at once he walked straight into heaven, and that's it. There's nothing else after that. You ever notice that? There's nothing else after that. He walked straight into heaven, and that was it. The stuff that Ras Ben is speaking about, I've never heard nobody talk like that. Because that is a good question. Where did he go when he walked straight into heaven? What happened? We know he didn't die because we already know once we leave this flesh, our spirit move on. So where did he go? What happened? You know? Oh, Mikey told me to hail you up, Mikey Kwaku. Well, he sent me a text and I guess he heard me mention your name and he told me to hail you up.
All gratitude, likewise. Big shout out to Ras Ben. What a pleasant brother. When I met him here in South Florida when he came and did his lecture, it's really, really powerful information. So I'm honored to be in the space and assist in holding space while he, gets everything situated. So I'm definitely very curious and interested in this type of galactic information. Enoch, aka what, Metatron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he sit in like the Kabbalistic tree of life?
And you know what? That was the next question. Well, one of the questions I was going to get to.
I think he has a very key position in the Kabbalistic tree of life, or that energy, which represents the building blocks of life and all of that kind of stuff. I actually utilize that symbol in a lot of the alchemy that I create, or like, let's say if I want, to charge something, like even if it's something as simple as water, I'll have like a gold Metatron sacred geometry piece, and I'll sit the water on top of that and let it charge.
Mm-hmm. And the water tastes really electrified, right?
Yes, and I deal with high quality water anyway, so it's just more fire.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm definitely curious about this aspect on a galactic level. You're saying that after he did and completed his mission on Earth, he went into the seventh dimension in heaven?
Yes.
Has Ras Ben explained some of what went on in that timeline?
Yes, he did. I think that you probably were on your way driving here when he spoke about how Enoch changed his physical form, like his molecular and his cellular structure literally changed of carbon and silica. So when he dropped the flesh, he's just straight carbon, straight silicon.
Wow. And he did that through mental alchemy?
Well, when he left Earth and walked straight into the heavens, that's when that transformation happened. In order for him to even be in that realm, he had to be in a different. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you have he spoke about like 3 guardians that, how can I say, are gatekeepers of the 7th heavens. The cherubim. Yes, cherubim, and there was 2 more he named. I don't know how, I can't remember.
I know the cherubim and the cherubim.
Yes, cherubim, and the Ophan.
The Ophan, okay.
Right. They were even questioning, like, how could he come here? And he's been born of a woman.
Mm-hmm. What was like the difference?
I guess being born of a woman would not approve
Versus.
him to live in the seventh heavens like that because he doesn't have the proper molecular structure to live in that domain.
Also, you're saying born of a woman, as in like over there they were not born of.
Right.
You mean a human?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like they may look human to us, but they weren't born through a mother and a father.
How were they born?
Well, I would say it wasn't the fact that they were born. It's just that area of the galaxy that they come from. It produces that silica carbon type being. You know what I mean? So it's like, for instance, if you go to the Caribbean, in the Caribbean, you have different Caribbean islands, but it's still a part of the Caribbean. So in the seventh heavens, you have your different silica carbon type beings, but they still from that same realm. I don't know if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. So they were like shocked and amazed that he was able to get there and metamorph.
Exactly. They couldn't understand, like, how was he born of a woman and he's able to live on this realm like that and then transform his molecular structure and cellular structure into carbon and silicon. But the galactic source chose him to do that.
Was it like a project, or
what do you mean a project?
When you say the galactic source chose him to do that?
Yeah, because remember he lived to over 100 and something years old or 200 something years old. So maybe his works here on Earth was just super superb in the divine
so
level.
It was a reward.
Right, exactly. We'll look at it like that, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, I try to, like you said, open my mind on a subconscious level to see what purpose it may have served. So maybe they were doing some kind of engineering.
And I think they needed someone trustworthy and already connected to the ethers to rule that seventh realm. That's like if you go out of town, you'll say, well, I only will trust the gifts in my house when I go out of town because I know everything's going to be the way I left it. Like that. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. And then, or it's kind of like in corporate America, you got like district managers that travel.
Yes. That they know is going to do the job.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Ras Ben back. Let's see if we can add him onto the stream.
Yes, sir.
Yes, give thanks. You were able to come back on.
What?
Peace, Ras Ben.
They want the world knowing about Enoch on these levels. Let's see.
I'm telling you, because you're digging up some rare jewels. People only want to know Enoch on a biblical aspect. They don't want to talk about him when he left Earth and went into the seventh heavens. They just say, oh, he walked straight into heaven.
Right.
And then, okay, so what happened after he walked straight into heaven? What happened? Something had to happen because we already know when we leave this flesh, our spirit lives on. So when he walked straight into heaven, where did he go?
Yes. So, where do you want to pick up, sister? I apologize for dropping out, but
no problem. No worries.
I can fall in when and where you ready.
Okay. So, all right. So the structure of the carbon and silica bases, how does that relate to quartz crystals and their terminations?
Great question. Well, on one level,
I think maybe that has a lot to do with how he walked
all
into
of our
heaven.
melanin and all of our carbon was replaced with crystals inside of us. That's how these Ophan are described and characterized as being, you know?
Right.
So even though we recognize our melanin having a lot of powers, our melanin is not magnetic and it's not metallic. So it's not as conductive as we would think. You know, most things in nature that are based in carbon, they're insulators, like rubber, plastic, wood, you know, things that are really carbon rich. In Earth nature, they tend to be insulators, not conductors. When you mix carbon with copper and sulfur, those are the three key ingredients of melanin, right? Carbon, copper, sulfur. Our melanated brethren that are when you say black, they're carbon rich. Carbon is the predominant element. If they're red, if they're ruddy, if they're brown, right? More than likely copper is the predominant element in their melanin. And if they're golden or yellow, as some would call them, right? Sulfur is the predominant element in their melanin. Even Europeans technically are melanated. The only people without melanin technically are ones with albinism, right? But Europeans have calcium as the predominant element, actually replacing carbon. And that's why they have a different photosynthetic response with sunlight and vitamin D because of the calcium prominence, you know? So imagine not carbon, not calcium, but silica, quartz, which is like the master crystal, really, of all modern technology. You know, your computer, your cell phone, silica can superconduct information and current and store information. It's an amazing element. And even though it looks like glass, right? When it's combined with oxygen, silica is actually a metal. If you were to see it by itself, it looks like like a gray metallic iron or zinc or something, you know? So that's what these angelic beings are depicted as their body being made of, silica. You still with me? Sister Nagise, you still with me?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to take the. Yes, I'm here. I was trying to unmute my mic. So that would explain why Enoch had to transform into the carbon silica in order to live in that seventh realm. Because when you were gone, we were trying to figure out why he had to change to those elements.
Exactly.
not really trying to figure out, but we were
No, but
suggesting.
no, that's a natural line of questioning. Why did he have to go through all of this? But when you study the galactic core, right? It's defined by a supermassive black hole, which is it's really a black star. Western science calls it a black hole, but its gravity is so intense, light can't even escape it. And the uh, I guess environment or the nature that's created around the galactic core is very unique. It's called an event horizon. It's where I guess the four qualities that are a big part of our reality: space, time, energy, and matter, right? They're all the same thing, all at the same time, all in the same space when you're in the seventh heaven. So, more than likely, carbon can't even maintain its structure there, in my opinion, you know? I hope
Right,
that
right.
answers what you were thinking about.
Yes, it did. It did. I know Angelic Alchemist would like to ask a question too. She's on the panel with us. Actually, she's at my
Angelic
house.
Alchemist, wow. Greetings, sister. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you
Peace.
identifying with that, I know what it is. You know what it is. So give thanks.
Absolutely. Ascension, transformation, crystallization, just rising up in frequency. So, when you were speaking about Metatron slash Enoch going into the silica slash carbon form, and you were describing silica, saying that it can take on somewhat of a metallic kind of appeal or look. I was curious about a Marvel movie that came out with the Silver Surfer, and I was wondering, was there a correlation?
I couldn't hear that last part. Please repeat it. You're kind of breaking up.
Okay, can you hear me a little better now?
Let me
Yes.
put my
Okay, so can you hear me now? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, again, you were describing the silica as somewhat of a metallic. It kind of has a shape shifting metallic look to it.
Yes.
And it sparked my mind to think about the Marvel character Silver Surfer. And I was wondering, was that tied in with that realm of those beings or that silica based energy?
Mm. It's possible, but I'm not familiar with that superhero or his powers, so I don't want to just shoot from the cuff, you know?
Well, definitely check it out, and maybe we can revisit this because it was a very interesting Marvel movie.
Mm. All right. And which one is that?
It's I think it's called Silver Surfer. Am I
Is it the
correct?
X-Men?
Yeah, he's an X-Men.
The X-Men. All right. Now, I'll tell you, I did see a superhero film that made me really think, excuse me, made me really think about Enoch, and that was the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds,
Mm.
and how he kind of went to this higher heaven and received all these powers, and green being receiving this Green Lantern was a part of it. And then the powers that he had, it seems very similar to Metatron.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, because even in the movies, there's some truth to what it's saying, even though it looks comical or cartoonish. There is always a
Absolutely.
truth to it.
Absolutely. And they say reality stranger than fiction, and that thing is real.
Hmm.
Because no matter how fantastical they try to get with the movies is still based on some amazing
It came from
reality.
somewhere.
Yeah, because it has to be something that people can identify and relate to on some level.
Right.
Or else it's not going to have that cinematic appeal. So they attempt to find a deep mystical truth and build, and they usually find, I should say, they find those truths in our cosmologies, our mythology, our scriptures, right? And then they, flip up some names, shift up the events a little bit, but it still will resonate with us as that archetypical, cosmological, mythological teaching on some level, And these things resonate with our DNA when we hear it. That's why it feels like it's true.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's why it feels like, yeah, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Or, that makes sense. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you make it make sense. So once you make it make sense, you can't deny it.
Yeah, you were breaking up. It was hard to hear what you were saying.
Oh, I was saying, like, yeah, the way you explain it, you make it make sense. And once you make it make sense, then it has its sense in it. You know what I mean? It's sensible.
Yeah. Yes.
So sensible people could hear it and grasp it.
Well, give thanks. Appreciate love that. Even though the mystical and cosmological can be deep and expansive, I do my best to keep it simple,
So exactly what is Enoch doing right now in the seventh heaven? What is his position? What is his job?
Like how in Revelations there's one that loosed the 7 seals of the book of life, right? They say Enoch is the custodian of the book of life. And he's counting our deeds, I guess, on a karmic level, keeping all the universal scales balanced along with universal law. So that's what Enoch is doing in the 7th heaven. If we wanted to make a comedic correspondence to who Enoch is, he would be Jehuti.
Okay, I'm thinking
Jehuti has the book of life, and is accounting for what ones on earth are doing. Enoch would kind of correspond to Jehuti.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Ma'at because of the karma and the deeds,
Exactly. So he has, I guess if you wanted to say like astrologically, we would have a mercurial, Mercury energy, right? How Mercury is language, reading and writing. And Enoch created the book of Enoch here on earth, but is also custodian of the book of life in the heavens, right? And so Mercury rules our decisions, the sum total of our decisions, which is our destiny, right? That's why it's important to do our best to keep our senses clear so that when we perceive something, our cognition and the way we process the thoughts of what we're seeing, what we're perceiving, and then how we play that out in our decisions and our actions and our behavior. Mercury rules all of that. The sum total of that is our destiny. That's what's being recorded in Metatron's Book of Life. Sum total of our, our thoughts and decisions and behavior, and that's a big part of what they say Enoch is doing in the heavens now, monitoring that. He gave us the teachings. He gave us the Book of Enoch, the first set of prophecies. Who listened? Who decided to listen? Who decided to shape their life based on those first sets of prophecies, or who decided to corrupt them, right? Or just decide to ignore them.
Right. So would a fixed star in the heavens correspond in the earth as someone who holds firm to principle and virtues?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
Okay. I said, would a fixed star in the heavens correspond in the earth as someone who holds firm to principle and virtues, such as someone like Enoch in his case? Because he held principle and virtues on the earth, so he was able to, transfigure into the star that he is.
You said Enoch left virtues on the earth?
No, I was saying that would a fixed star in the heavens correspond in the earth as someone who holds firm to principle and virtues? So, for instance, like how Enoch made his way to the seventh heaven, is that because he held firm to principle and virtues on earth, and that pretty much allowed him to have permission to rule the seventh heaven, being that he was born of a woman, and normally that's not the case to even be in that realm. You can't be born of anything. You just is. You know what I mean?
It was hard for me to hear what you're saying, but if I think what you're speaking on is that even though he was Metatron in the seventh heaven, right? He did return to Earth a couple of times, I think. Once was as what many call Jesus Christ or Yasus Christos, right? Because how was it said that Jesus was going to return from heaven under the banner or title as the Son of Man, right?
Okay.
And when you study prophecy, that only one person wore that title before Jesus, and that was Enoch, the Son of Man, or my youth. I've already reasoned on that, right? But then it was later said Enoch was going to come again as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. He who loosed the seven seals. And we know who fulfills those prophecies, His Majesty. So when you talk about principles, morals, character, right? His Imperial Majesty exemplified those things on the world stage like none other. There was no other example of international morality, right? Which is one of the tenets, one of the pillars of the United Nations. When the League of Nations crumbled and His Majesty was asked to help reconstruct a world council, and the United Nations was formed, he said there needs to be three pillars that this thing is built on: global disarmament, right? Collective security, and international morality. So there really is no one. This man also drafted what they call the Declaration of Human Rights. So it's really not too many people who have stood on the world stage and have exemplified international morality and character, proper conduct, like His Majesty. And these are all qualities associated with Enoch. Remember, we spoke about the innocence Enoch had, that he, within his world, he didn't even have no judgment on the fallen angels of the Nephilim. He took their prayer to the seventh heaven, Who's moving with such innocence within themselves on the world stage that we could witness in as our contemporary, That's what got me really into studying the Book of Enoch, as we say a Rasta,
Yes.
This idea that he incarnated, that Rastafari may be Enoch reincarnate, So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, especially how you answered it through His Majesty and Her Majesty, because they would be a good example of principle and virtues,
Yes, absolutely.
They will be like that fixed star in the heavens that corresponds in the earth, as someone who holds firm to the principles and virtues. That was basically the question. Now that it's clearer, I can say it again. You can hear me now,
Yes. So look, the way our technology is acting, I don't want to try to share my screen again. But what I want to do is to encourage everyone who's listening that there are free editions of the Book of Enoch online that we can all download as PDFs, right? And then you can go to the Find Search tab once you open up your PDF, and it'll let you search for any word in the document. And search for Ophan, Ophan. And you'll be able to read Enoch's description of the ones that traverse the seven heavens, the ones who, in my opinion, others are calling the Galactic Federation or the ETUFO, right? And you can get this divine angelic overstanding of who they are and have a different relationship with them than just a gawker and a wanderer. Like, who are they? What are they?
Yes.
And a good example to study is the Prophet Yahweh. You familiar with the Prophet Yahweh, right?
Yes.
Yo, this dude stand out in the field and they got it on camera. There's no denying this. He said,
I saw it.
He said, prayer to Yahweh or Yahweh. And in what? The Ophan, these orbs are appearing. They flying around. They responding to his prayer.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that some years ago. Remember, you put us on to that some years ago when you did the lecture. And I went on the YouTube and I found it. And I saw the man stand out in the open field. A nice little sunny day, I would say. It was blue skies. He had his arms out. And he said the Yahweh prayer. And then you start seeing these quick flashes of orbs and even ships. UFO ships.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, we need to have the same relationship with the Alpha as the prophet Yahweh does. And we know who they are. We know they right there, right? And so we know the right prayer to have him just bam, manifest right before us. So the book of Enoch has them keys. Search out Ophan, search out Seraphim, search out Cherubim, so you can read, because Enoch was taken on a tour of the seven heavens. And, again, the first heaven being like the atmosphere. He was being flown around in a helicopter so low to earth where you could see the trees and make note of it, right? Because that's where Enoch makes note of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. The biblical descriptions of these trees, they come from the first prophet. So we read about them in Genesis, how the serpent gave Eve access to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? And in Revelation, the tree of life was planted in the New Jerusalem, right? Revelation 21. Well, the first account of these trees is in the book of Enoch. When Enoch is taking a tour of the first heaven. Then, like I said, the second heaven seems like the dwelling of our ancestors, the dwelling of our patriarchs and prophets in the Bible, and ones who have kept the faith and have lived a virtuous life like you was talking about. So they've gained access to the second heaven, which is like these ancestors dwelling in the clouds. That's how Enoch depicts it, The third and the fourth heaven are depicted as the space that we would call our lunosphere, the space between Earth and the moon, and the solar sphere, the space between Earth and the sun. The fifth heaven is depicted, in my opinion, as the star Sirius, where these crystal chambers and crystal portals, right? Crystal palaces. And when you enter certain doors or certain chambers in these, you're transported through the galactic spiral arm, which is depicted as the sixth heaven, straight to the galactic core, which is the seventh heaven, which again is depicted as crystal chambers, crystal vaults, right? So again, my intention was to have the book of Enoch open so we could go through this together, right? But all of this is accounted for in what's called the Book of Luminaries. There's 7 books within the Book of Enoch. It's the third book called the Book of Luminaries, where you find the depiction of the 7 heavens. But Enoch also goes on a tour of the 7 hells, the 7 chambers or dwelling places within the earth, where the fallen angels, the Nephilim, are bound. And his tour of the 7 heavens is the foundation of what we will call demonology, or how these entities that don't have humanity's best interests in heart and is manipulating humanity on spiritual level. Enoch gives us the science of that too. So my sister, I see it's going on 9 o'clock. We said we was going to keep it around 90 minutes. Did you have any sealing questions to seal it up?
I think I did. Let me see. No, I think that was it. Well, that was it for now, anyway.
All right. Well, give thanks. Well, yeah.
Next time you'll be able to present the full Enoch presentation, because I'm sure there's still some more stuff that you wanted to touch on, and I know that I'll have some questions off of that.
Yes. And yeah, ultimately, I hope I inspired your community to really penetrate Enoch on a level such that it can be a source to answer questions we face in modern age, because we live in a special time where, when ones would say we seen what them call the ETUFO, it can be denied, until we ended up in a technology society where 80-90% of the people you see got high-tech, high-resolution cameras in their pocket, right? When the Star Nations appear now, they can pull out this high-tech camera and record it and capture it. And with that same device, push a button and put it in a medium where the whole world can see, right?
Yes.
We never lived in a time like this before. And it raises a lot of questions. And it raises the opportunity for a lot of dishonesty and untruths, right?
Exactly.
So Enoch holds a lot of the keys to being able to decipher what we're seeing, if we know what we're reading. So that's my inspiration, and I hope I helped in that today.
Yes, you did. You brought a lot of wealth of information. Trust me, you did. And like I always say, those is always open to do their own research. That way they could get more familiar of what you're saying, because there's nothing like seeking it for yourself. That's when the understanding becomes real. That's when to make it make sense makes sense.
Absolutely. Because I'm one, don't believe nothing I said, but again, I'm going to hopefully show you the sources and the keys so that you can get this understanding yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Yo, angelic alchemist. I look forward to the day.
I can't wait till you meet her.
Yeah, we met once. We met.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can see you. I gotta see the angelic alchemist. Come on now.
I'm here.
She's from up north like us, Ras Ben.
All right. But your camera ain't on. That's what I'm saying. I can't see you.
Oh, let me come on the camera. Hold on.
Yeah,
look at her fixing herself up. Look.
I had itis. She's over here cooking this good food.
All right. Good to meet you, sister. So give thanks for the sharing. All right. So yeah, hey, we're gonna do this on the regular, maybe once a month.
That's right.
I'm looking forward. I'm surprised because I plugged in my Ethernet connection. I was working on a landline. I'm surprised. Like, they got tricky on me. When I did this thing in the past, I ain't had no issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's even telling us, like, yo, they ain't really want this thing out here.
Exactly.
Sharing, there's a lot of resistance. But I'm going to do my best to work through that. So next time we come on, we'll be able to share the screen without glitches.
Yeah, what I was telling the alchemist is that maybe, because it's Friday evening, maybe everybody's on at the same time, so it's pulling a lot of the broadband, just giving it a general excuse.
That's very
because There's no reason for it to be doing that. You're hooked up all the way on your end.
To be honest, I probably got 4 youth in the house on their games or something, on their devices.
Right, right.
That's real possible too. Friday night, they up in here getting it in, I'm sure.
And then people that's using StreamYard as well, like me, people that's using the YouTube like me right now. It's Friday evening, could have 2 million people at the same time we log on, which that's not supposed to be the case.
Yes. So we're going to do it on a Wednesday or Thursday in the future.
Right. Maybe we could do it like at a 2:00 p.m. in the afternoon.
There you go. All right. Well, until such time, I'm going to say love and respect, guidance and protection to y'all. Honor
yes, love and gratitude.
ancestors that are to the left and your right, even the ones remembered and forgotten,
Truly.
And give thanks for,
yes,
because I will say, Jah willing, if I'm able, the next book that I manifest is going to be Enoch. It's going to be all that we was just reasoning on.
Yes, go deep into it.
Go deep into it. So,
what happened after he walked straight into heaven?
Thinking I was going to write it this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it didn't manifest this year. So I don't even want to say 2023. We'll have to see. If I can say Jah willing, But this information will be the next written works I share, Jah willing,
Right.
All right. So until such time, when we come forward again, much love and respect.
Yes, love and gratitude, Ras Ben. Give thanks, family. Give thanks.
Every time.
Peace and love. What? Very good. Very good. Ras Ben always brings an inspiration. Always. So he's somebody that I look forward to having on, because I know when he comes, he's going to be dropping jewels that people don't really talk about. People talk about UFOs and aliens, but they're not talking like him. The stream, I act like it don't want me to end the stream. What's going on here, StreamYard? It won't even let me end the broadcast.